In a bold display of national strength and innovation, Burkina Faso has officially unveiled its first-ever locally manufactured LX70 armored vehicle. A military breakthrough that signals a new chapter in the nation's defense capabilities. Development has not only surprised geopolitical observers, but also sparked pride across the African continent. In a region long dependent on imported military hardware from foreign powers, Burkina Faso's move to produce its own advanced combat vehicle marks a significant stride towards self-reliance and military sovereignty. The LX70 is not just a vehicle, it is a powerful symbol of defiance against dependency. A declaration that Burkina Faso is ready to take control of its own security future, built entirely within national borders using local engineering talent. In strategic military partnerships, the LX70 represents years of quiet planning, rigorous design, and relentless ambition. Its chassis is crafted to withstand rugged terrain, while its armor is designed to resist heavy fire and explosive threats. The vehicle's advanced suspension system, turret-ready frame, and modular adaptability make it suitable for both urban defense operations and long-range desert missions. This isn't just a machine built for show, it's built for war. It tells the world that Burkina Faso is no longer willing to wait for international shipments or foreign contracts to secure its borders. What's even more striking is the timing. With growing threats from insurgent groups in the Sahel region and increasing political tensions with foreign powers, the appearance of a homegrown military asset sends a strong message. Burkina Faso is no longer just reacting to danger. It is preparing proactively, investing in tools that serve its people first. The creation of the LX70 was not achieved overnight. It involved a coalition of local engineers, defense experts, and military tacticians who understood the terrain, the threats, and the mission. With little external funding and zero reliance on Western defense contractors, the project was pushed forward with a fierce commitment to national pride and strategic independence. For years, African nations have been stuck in cycles of aid dependency when it comes to defense, forced to purchase outdated or overpriced equipment from countries that benefit more from the sale than the safety it provides. But the LX70 is proof that this cycle can be broken. It is proof that African nations can build their own war machines, tailored to their needs, built with their knowledge, and fueled by their determination. This new vehicle is already being hailed across social media and military analyst circles as a game changer. 8. Introduces a new model of defense development, where innovation is born at home, tested on native soil, and deployed with purpose. The Burkina government has announced that the LX70 will soon enter active deployment, starting with strategic zones along key national corridors. Images of the vehicle have surfaced, showing clean, angular lines, tactical camouflage paint, and reinforced steel plating, giving it the appearance of something both futuristic and menacing. Its presence is a morale boost for both soldiers and civilians alike, showing that their nation is investing in real protection rather than empty promises. The unveiling event was modest in size, but monumental in meaning. Unlike Western military showcases with parades and flashy tech demonstrations, Burkina Faso's LX70 was revealed with a quiet confidence. There were no boasts or dramatic declarations, just the cold, undeniable truth of progress made real. As more African nations watch closely, Burkina Faso may be laying down a path others will follow. The success of this project opens the door for regional collaboration, technology sharing, and the creation of a West African military-industrial ecosystem that no longer waits for global permission to defend its people. Burkina Faso has taken a bold and unprecedented step in its national history by producing its first-ever indigenous armored combat vehicle, the LX70. This milestone is not merely a technical achievement. It represents a seismic shift in the nation's approach to defense, industrial autonomy, and geopolitical identity. For decades, African nations have been reliant on foreign powers for their military hardware, often receiving outdated, overpriced, or politically conditional equipment. Burkina Faso has now challenged that legacy with the rollout of a machine that is designed, engineered, and assembled within its own borders. Using the intellect, labor, and vision of its own people, the creation of the LX70 did not come out of convenience or luxury, it emerged from necessity. With the growing insecurity in the Sahel region, mounting pressure from insurgent groups, and political rifts with former colonial powers, Burkina Faso found itself in urgent need of dependable, customizable, and rapidly deployable military technology. But rather than appeal to outside powers with cap in hand, the country made the bold choice to look inward. This introspection sparked a process that led to the conceptualization of an armored vehicle that would suit the unique conditions of Burkina Faso's terrain and the specific needs of its military forces. The LX70 was born from months, if not years, of brainstorming, prototyping, field testing, and engineering problem-solving. It involved collaboration between military commanders, local engineers, metallurgists, and logistics specialists who knew their environment and understood the real challenges their troops face. Every rivet and bolt in the LX70 is a testament to local ingenuity and determination. From its reinforced hull to its desert-adapted suspension system, the vehicle reflects a level of practical intelligence that no imported design could have replicated. Unlike vehicles manufactured for European roads or Middle Eastern deserts, the LX70 is made to maneuver through the Sahel's rugged terrain, navigate through unstable conflict zones, and resist guerrilla-style ambush tactics. This level of adaptability is what makes it so much more than just a machine. It is a reflection of national resilience. The production process itself also marks a turning point in Burkina Faso's industrial capability. By developing a domestic military manufacturing base, the nation is not only investing in its armed forces, but also laying the foundation for a broader industrial revival. Jobs have been created in mechanical engineering, metalwork, and supply chain logistics. Tactical skills have been passed on to a new generation of youth who now see their future not in migration or dependency, but in contributing to something tangible and national. This self-reliant approach may seem modest on the surface, but its implications are profound. Burkina Faso has joined the short list of African nations. It's capable of building its own combat vehicles without the direct assistance of foreign advisors, private military contractors, or Western blueprints. It is not merely a statement of capacity, but a statement of intent. The LX70 sends a powerful signal. Burkina Faso is no longer waiting for permission or validation from external powers to protect its people and its land. The unveiling of the LX70 was carried out not with grandstanding or fanfare, but with the measured seriousness of a nation that understands what is at stake. Photos of the vehicle have already circulated across African military communities, and the buzz is undeniable. In a world where global defense is monopolized by a few dominant players, the emergence of an African-designed and built armored vehicle disrupts the narrative. It challenges the assumption that innovation and high-grade military engineering can only come from Europe, Asia, or North America. This is African capability, standing tall, armored, and ready. It is not just military analysts who are taking note. The public reaction within Burkina Faso has been one of pride and amazement. Citizens have taken to social media to celebrate the achievement, not only as a step forward for their defense system, but as a symbolic victory for the nation's independence and ingenuity. For a population that has seen its country portrayed in foreign media through the lens of conflict and poverty, the LX70 represents something refreshing, a story of control, progress, and national competence. Young people now have a new icon to admire, one that proves Burkina Faso can not only stand up to threats, but do so with tools built by its own hands. The political implications of this milestone cannot be ignored either. By producing the LX70, Burkina Faso is asserting its sovereignty in an environment where international pressure often dictates internal policy. The nation is signaling that it will no longer rely on former colonial powers or international donors to secure its peace. Instead, it is investing in itself, betting on its own ability to solve its problems and protect its future. This message resonates far beyond the borders of Burkina Faso and may inspire similar efforts in neighboring countries, who are also re-evaluating their defense and development strategies in the face of global uncertainty. The introduction of the LX70 armored vehicle marks transformative chapter in Burkina Faso's pursuit of military independence, signaling a bold shift away from decades of reliance on foreign arms suppliers. African nations have been tied to international defense markets, often dependent on outdated or surplus equipment sold with political strings attached. But with the unveiling of the LX70, Burkina Faso has not only created a machine of war, it has crafted a powerful symbol of military self-reliance and national sovereignty. This is not merely about producing a vehicle. It is about producing confidence, control, and a new defense philosophy that rejects external dependency. The LX70's very existence challenges an entrenched system where African militaries are expected to wait on procurement deals, grant approvals, and foreign training cycles. Such systems have long created delays, vulnerabilities, and gaps in readiness. By contrast, a homegrown armored vehicle like the LX70 empowers Burkina Faso to respond rapidly to emerging threats, adapt technology to local environments, and make independent decisions without waiting for foreign partners to act. This control over design, modification, deployment is a significant leap toward operational freedom, giving the country the ability to defend its borders on its own terms. Historically, foreign military aid has come at a steep price. Nations accepting foreign arms often find themselves politically indebted, forced to align with broader geopolitical interests that may not serve their own people. These arrangements can weaken internal policymaking and strip countries of the freedom to pursue security policies that reflect local realities. The LX70 sends a different message, one that is both tactical and symbolic. It says Burkina Faso will no longer mortgage its security for political favors or be held hostage by international defense agendas. Instead, it will build its own path. To strengthen the design and production of the LX70 reflect this philosophy of independence. Every component, from the reinforced armor to the all-terrain wheels, is optimized for local use. There are no foreign trademarks stamped on its parts, no proprietary systems requiring costly maintenance from overseas firms. What this means in practice is sustainability. Spare parts can be fabricated locally. Modifications can be made without external approval. Maintenance and upgrades can be done without waiting months for imported components. This is more than cost efficiency, it is strategic liberation. What makes the LX70's development even more revolutionary is the context in which it has emerged. Burkina Faso, a landlocked country facing ongoing insurgencies and economic constraints, managed to produce a high-grade military vehicle without the massive budgets or foreign assistance typically seen in similar projects elsewhere. That alone is a testament to the will and resourcefulness of its people. But more importantly, it sets a precedent that others can follow. The LX70 becomes more than a national project. It becomes a prototype for a broader movement toward African military self-sufficiency. Regional allies and neighboring nations are now watching closely. Many of them face the same challenges: porous borders, delayed arms shipments, and unreliable foreign alliances. The LX70 offers a new Model 1 that puts trust in domestic talent and local resources. It proves that effective defense solutions can be developed from within without sacrificing quality or firepower. If replicated, this approach could shift the entire military-industrial landscape of West Africa, turning passive consumers of global arms into proactive producers of defense technology tailored for African realities. This self-reliance also has ripple effects across national identity and morale. A continent too often portrayed through the lens of dependency, the LX70 provides a counter-narrative. It tells the youth of Burkina Faso and Africa at large that greatness doesn't have to be imported. It can be built right here, with African hands, for African purposes. It boosts confidence in what local industries can achieve, while also reinforcing the idea that sovereignty isn't just about governance, it's about production, it's protection, and innovation. By breaking the pattern of foreign dependency in military affairs, Burkina Faso also strengthens its negotiating power on the global stage. A country that manufactures its own war machines is not one that can be easily manipulated through embargoes, arms restrictions, or diplomatic pressures. It has leverage, it has resilience, and it has autonomy. The LX70 is a quiet but firm assertion of that autonomy. In the long term, its model of localized military production could evolve into a full-fledged defense sector. It opens the door to regional exports, joint ventures with like-minded African states, and a network of mutually supportive manufacturing hubs across the continent. Burkina Faso, with the LX70 as its flagship project, is not just preparing for today's battles, it is laying the foundation for a future where African countries are equal players in the global defense ecosystem, setting their own rules and determining their own destinies. The deployment of the LX70 armored vehicle marks a pivotal advancement in Burkina Faso's national security and resonates far beyond its borders, serving as a source of inspiration for regional defense innovation. Throughout Africa, for a nation navigating persistent insurgency threats, cross-border terrorism, and political instability, the ability to mobilize a domestically built, combat-ready armored unit reflects a new level of readiness and control. The LX70 does not merely serve as a vehicle on the battlefield. It symbolizes a strategic evolution in how African countries can defend themselves, protect sovereignty, and reimagine their defense futures through local ingenuity. From a security standpoint, the introduction of the LX70 instantly enhances Burkina Faso's operational capabilities. Unlike imported vehicles that often arrive with compatibility issues or training delays, the LX70 is purpose-built for the unique terrain, climate, and tactical needs of the country. This means fewer breakdowns, less time in maintenance, and more time actively deployed in securing vulnerable regions. Its armored shell, customized mobility systems, and modular design allow it to patrol remote areas, transport troops safely, withstand ambushes that would disable lighter or less specialized vehicles. For the military, this represents a reliable asset that can be counted on in real-time scenarios, free from the red tape of foreign maintenance schedules or parts delivery from abroad. But perhaps even more importantly, its presence on the ground has an immeasurable psychological impact, communicates strength to both citizens and adversaries. Citizens in affected regions feel reassured by the visibility of homegrown armored protection, reinforcing faith in their government and military. Militants, on the other hand, are forced to reckon with a nation that is no longer operating under foreign limitations. The LX70 sends a clear message. Burkina Faso is no longer a passive player in its own defense strategy. It is asserting its role, controlling its resources, and redefining the battlefield on its own terms. As news of the LX70's successful deployment spreads, it is quickly becoming a model for other African nations facing similar threats. Across West and Central Africa, countries are battling insurgencies and organized armed groups with little or delayed support from traditional allies. Many African armies remain dependent on aging equipment donated by foreign governments, equipment that is often ill-suited for modern asymmetric warfare or the continent's extreme environments. The LX70 provides a compelling alternative. It proves that African nations can shift from consumers to creators in the defense sector, leveraging local expertise and regional needs to design effective solutions. This ripple effect could lead to a new era of inter-African military collaboration and industrial synergy. Nations with complementary skills and resources can form defense clusters, some focusing on vehicle assembly, others on weapon systems, communications, tech, or battlefield logistics. With Burkina Faso leading the way, Africa could witness the birth of its own military-industrial ecosystem, one rooted in independence, regional unity, and contextual relevance. Such a shift not only promotes innovation, but also reduces the continent's exposure to foreign political manipulation through arms dependencies. Another profound benefit lies in talent development. The LX70's development and deployment has shown young African engineers, fabricators, and designers that high-level defense production is not reserved for Western nations. It has opened the door for a generation of technical minds to believe in domestic potential. Defense academies, vocational schools, and local manufacturers now have a living case study 2.2 vehicle that was imagined, designed, built and used by Africans for African challenges. The impact on educational motivation and national pride cannot be overstated. Moreover, the LX70 contributes to a broader strategic doctrine of deterrence. In international security, capability often serves as a deterrent in itself. When neighboring states or potential threats recognize that a country is capable of defending itself with modern, locally serviced hardware, they are less likely to test its borders or underestimate its resolve. The presence of the LX70, both in media and in active patrols, shifts how Burkina Faso is perceived by both partners and adversaries. It moves the country into a different Tier 1, where it cannot be easily dismissed, pressured, or destabilized. International observers have already taken notice. Defense analysts are watching closely to see how the LX70 performs in real conflict zones. And early indicators suggest that its adaptability and durability exceed expectations. Some regional think tanks are now discussing how this model of military self-sufficiency could be exported to countries like Mali, Niger, Chad, or even parts of East Africa. African Union policy circles are quietly studying Burkina Faso's trajectory as they reevaluate collective defense strategies that emphasize internal capacity building over external aid reliance. The political implications are also significant. Governments across Africa have often faced criticism for failing to respond swiftly or effectively to growing security crises. By producing and deploying the LX70, Burkina Faso's leadership has demonstrated that timely, independent action is possible when national priorities are aligned with domestic innovation. This act could pressure other governments to rethink their own strategies, potentially catalyzing continent-wide military reforms centered on local development and self-reliance. The symbolic power of the LX70 extends even into civil society. Media coverage of the vehicle's unveiling and operational use has generated widespread national pride. For a country that has faced political instability and international skepticism, the ability to showcase something tangible and strategica, product of its own soil and intelligence, has unified public sentiment in rare and meaningful ways. It builds trust in national institutions and fosters a sense of shared achievement that is critical in times of uncertainty. Ultimately, the LX70 is more than an armored vehicle. It is a moving testament to what African countries can achieve when they take control of their security narratives, invest in their own talent, and refuse to be defined by external expectations. Its deployment not only protects Burkina Faso's people, but sparks. It's a movement that could reshape the future of African defense. If you believe Africa deserves its own future built by its own hands, then don't just watch, be part of the movement. Subscribe now to stay ahead of the truth they don't want you to know.